And we are live. So thanks anyone who joining us. But what's funny is this show is supposed to start like an hour from now. So we probably won't have anyone in for a while because we're early. Because I usually start at 2 and then the UK did their time change. So like people were used to joining a Wednesday at a certain time, but now literally they just shifted. So their schedule is off like
Oh
another
no.
hour back compared to ours or whatever. So what's funny is Lee, the Forge of Mars on Twitter, is usually my co-host, but he's like 2 hours from now. You know what I mean? Because I started an hour later, plus an hour later. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I got a lot of paintovers to do, so I'll, work on paintovers. It was cool that someone, I like talking to people I haven't spoke with because I just like getting different slices of the hobby and stuff. So thank
Yeah.
you. And you're Theraval on Twitter, correct?
Yeah, that's what most people know me by. Yep.
Yeah, I'll show. Okay, we'll pull up one of your miniatures here in a minute on there. I'm going to go through on Twitter some of the pictures that were submitted because there was a lot of good ones. And, but first, let me tweet that we are live. Let me do that on my
Sounds good.
computer. And I have to make sure I get the link. It's like always so, I don't know if tedious is the right word, but like, okay, yeah, you can go live, but then if you don't tweet, it's only your viewers, so you should tweet it out. You know what I mean? To get thing, and then you got to put that on the list of one more thing to do,
Right. Yeah, I can't even imagine
and it all
all
adds
that
up.
separate and straight.
All right, here we go. Let me just type this. Paintovers. I don't have any picture. I should have a picture to slap in here. Yeah, we'll slap, why not? A drawing of, oh, no, I'll slap these. I'm working on this one. Oh, does it only connect one? Oh, well. Almost done. The most boring, I'm always like half unprepared when I do these, even though I don't even know how many of these live streams I've done now. There, that's better.
I
Got that
totally get
tweet out.
that.
I mean, Lee always joke about it. Okay, so first off, what kind of games do you play? I noticed on your Twitter you had a big old wall of paint. So that was the first thing. I'm like, all right, I can talk to this dude. I'm like, just gauging by that wall of paint. He's got something to say about the hobby.
Yeah,
So,
I have a few.
yeah, look at that. That's so cool. How's the lighting done on that?
I actually just did that this morning. I was kind of annoyed because my office doesn't have great natural light,
Mm-hmm.
and the only light I typically use on my desk is just like a small desk lamp to
Yeah.
shine on where I'm working, like that. But like I can never see my paints very well.
Oh, wait, let me zoom. I'm going to
So
zoom in real quick. Hang on. Let me do this. I want to see that wall. Oh, there we go. I just want, oh, that is so cool. Cool lighting on that.
I just put a bunch of LED strip lights on actually this morning because I was trying to figure out a way where I could see my paints better, even in the
Oh,
semi darkness. So
yeah, that
yeah,
looks like, and you don't even, what's funny is you don't even YouTube or anything you said because I'm like, that's like a great setup for like on a stream. It just looks cool. I'm like, oh, you don't even like, that's just for you.
yeah, that's just for me and my
Good.
family. My office is like basically in the front of the house. Is the first thing you see when you walk in. So
Okay.
I try not to leave it too cluttered and at least have
Yeah.
it look somewhat presentable to guests and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
That's a good thing to have. All right. Yeah, and for anyone watching, we're like hours early. If you're in the UK, you're probably like, why are you even on right now? Because you're way earlier than normal, but I was going to be busy with some paint overs. Wait, let me slide here first. This is yours, correct?
Yeah, that was my last commission piece I finished up.
Oh, and okay, so where is the model from?
That is Gale Force 9. They do like a limited edition D&D collector series in resin.
Okay.
So some like it's like I don't know, I think they limited like 1,000 or 1,500 models. I don't know why it's limited, but it's probably just so they
Okay,
can
and
sell
so
for
this
more.
is like an official D&D model type deal?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep, that's
awesome.
Baphomet from the Descent to Avernus campaign,
I love what
I
you did with
believe.
his hoof through the like rock or whatever, the brick rock, can't really tell, like the
Yeah, I think it's brick. You just kind
yeah,
of
I don't even know, but either or, but I love how you did that. And so like you decide the wound were the wounds on them? Are the wounds
they
sculpted on them?
were. Yeah, I originally painted them just as kind of like exposed fleshy tissue,
Mm-hmm.
but he seemed so, I don't know, cool and demonic, and like so I just started
Yeah.
painting everything with fire. So I painted fire on top of his head. If you were to look up in his mouth, it's like glowing with
Oh, you can see
fire
that
in
in
there too. You
there.
can't barely see it at that angle, but
Oh no, I'll
and
increase it
then
too. Yeah.
all the wounds on his body and of course his feet and stuff like that. I just put fire and like
Oh,
demonic
that's
fire
a
coming out
great
of
no, that's a
everywhere.
great touch. That's why I was like, okay, I'm like, that's really cool because it made him pop and it gave him a like presentation wise, it's something vastly different than just having cut open flesh wounds. You know what I mean? Like he
Yes.
does look more
Yeah.
magical and more like, all right, what's going on with this dude and how much do I really want to cut him if he's spewing lava?
Right. Unless specifically asked, I always try to put something a little different into the
Hmm.
miniatures than
And this was a commission,
just,
you said?
the standard box art. Yeah. Yep.
Right on. Good. Yeah, I don't even know how much we even interacted before. Not much
Not a
online.
ton. I've been following you
No.
for a while. I appreciate your art, but the algorithm, of course, I miss
Oh
99% of
yeah.
it. But
No, I appreciate that. Good stuff. The oh wait, let me show your Twitter handle just in case. This is
I'm going to
you.
disappear for a hot second here.
Oh
Just my
yeah,
dog's
no
barking to
worries.
come in.
I know all about the dog situation. This is another cool one. What was this one? This was I'll show you later, the guy with the cart.
Yeah, that was from the Reaper Kickstarter, the most recent one.
Okay.
That wasn't for anybody. I needed a kind of a palate cleanser after Baphomet.
Okay.
So I way overbought into that Kickstarter. I probably I bet 1,200 minis are downstairs in a giant box that I haven't even
Are
sorted
you
through yet.
kidding me? Oh, so you did one of those? Okay, so that's why you got all the paints. Now I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I mean, I have an obscene amount of minis that I haven't painted yet. That someday I lie to myself that I'll get them all done. But so that was just, I don't know, that one caught my eye. I just like I really like kind of painting. I mean, I like painting everything, but for me personally, I like NPC characters. I don't know why. I just
Yeah.
like building like
Okay.
a life, village of whatever. So
Yeah,
this guy
builds
caught
the
my eye. He's a little,
world. Yeah. Yeah.
a
Fleshes
little
out what's
ogre.
going
Oh,
on.
he's just a little ogre porter dragging
So,
some goods around, and
do you play
yeah,
D&D? Do you play any of
yeah,
these different games? Okay,
yep.
what's your go-to game right now, would you say, or games that you kind of find yourself playing the most?
D&D is really the only one I play on a regular
Really?
basis. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
fantasy style game, but not a ton. Like regular board gaming, I do a lot of. But as far
Okay.
as this kind of stuff, D&D is the only one I really play. I've toyed around
Oh,
with the idea of getting
good.
into Age of Sigmar. I like the concept, but I don't
Yeah.
need another rabbit hole to fall down in.
No, and that's interesting because that was one of the things I had seen you post D&D, and I get a lot of 40K. That's kind of where I start. I played a long time ago. I started D&D like probably late 70s. You know what I mean? So I was like, I got into
Hmm.
before anything it was like D&D for me, and then I kind of like slowly went into the 40K world, and then like dabbled on a bunch of other all kinds of games along the way. But so when I saw you posting some D&D stuff, um, I was like, oh, cool. I wanted I like grabbing different miniatures, and I was like, hopefully it's someone who plays because I haven't talked to as many Dungeons and Dragons players as I have you know 40K players. Hang on,
For sure.
the stream was getting a little glitchy, and I just want to check on something.
Yeah, I don't know if that's on my end or not, but yeah, I
No,
was
no, that's
experiencing that too a
me.
little bit.
Yeah, it said the whatchamacallit rate was dropping, and then it caught back up, but I just want to pull it up somewhere. So, like, oh wait, is this going to be loud? I don't want to hear us. There. Yo, Echo, thanks for joining us. Let me bring this up. And Crimson, appreciate it. This is Theraval. This is him on Twitter right here. These are his miniatures. He's one of the people that's going to get a paint over, and we're talking. He plays D&D, so we're going to talk some D&D and hobby. Okay, so what was the you obviously went okay, so obviously I see Dungeons and Dragons miniatures around, but I don't meet too many people who are like hardcore, have that big of a paint set that I've interacted with that paint Dungeons and Dragons. So how did you even start with the hobby?
Um, that was kind of an on accident almost, and it was relatively recently. As far as painting goes. Oh, actually, even D&D. I've been only playing since fifth edition came out, so
Okay.
what, like 5 6 years. My friends all played in high school, and somehow I never got into it, which is weird because it's totally my jam. I somehow missed it in high school, and then when fifth edition came out, my friends were like, "Let's play again. We haven't done this since high school. We should try it."
Yep.
So we did, and I I made a character, and 5 minutes later, I was buying a player's handbook, and 3 days
uh,
later, I was buying a DM guide, and yeah, it's been a rabbit hole for that time frame. But then, like 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, I had won a like a Twitter giveaway, like how people do that for
yeah.
like whatever, and it was supposed to be a set of dice, and I'm like, oh, cool, and so I got them in the mail, and a guy named Lee, Jim Lee on Twitter, had given me a dwarf wizard miniature in there as
Hmm.
like a freebie. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm like, I wonder if I could do this. So I bought like a Reaper miniatures learn to paint kit, and it's kind
Yeah.
of been all in since there.
How long ago was that you were like you bought the Reaper kit?
Just over 3 years ago.
Really? And so you're that deep after 3 years?
Oh my God. It went quick. Every time I went to the hobby store, I'm like, okay, I could pick out these 5 miniatures and buy five. And then the next 2 days later, I'd go back and buy
Oh,
five more.
seriously? I saw your setup. I'm like, oh, this is someone. I'm like, oh, this dude's probably like 30 years doing this or something. I'm like,
Nope.
something. That's like so funny.
But then, like a
Yeah.
year and a half ago, 2 years ago, someone asked me to paint for them. And so I started doing that on the side as well. I
Hey.
don't do it as much as I'd like to because I'm a full time pharmacist, and the
Hmm.
last 2 years have been chaotic, to say the least.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
but
managed to
yeah,
keep your
it's.
sanity. Elodie Cunningham says hi there. Hi. I've pronounced these. I should not be speaking when I pronounce people's names. So thank you, Mechanical Frog. Appreciate you making it. He says Echo 1608 says, "Oh no, the dice addiction begins." I always, I had no need for dice. It's one of the things I wish I had. My, I know I don't have it anymore, and I maybe I could find it, but the original, I still had a couple of the original dice from my original Dungeons and Dragons, like the box set back in the day.
Oh wow,
And
that'd be
they had
awesome.
the blue ones with the fill it in with the crayon, so I had some of those, and it would really be nice to have found that, but darn it. And that's been it. So you played that much? Do you Wow, you've got been busy with all that. You're in the. I did I already ask you. You're in the States, correct?
Yeah,
Are you in the
yep. I'm in
States?
Michigan.
Okay. So you like have you been able to play much? Do you even get to play much?
Yeah, we moved online after COVID
Okay.
started. We keep talking about getting back together, but one of our players' spouse has a organ transplant, so
Oh
he's
man.
like obviously extra careful. So we're still playing online, but
Okay,
we
so you
take
do get
turns
some.
DMing campaigns and
All
just
right,
having
good.
fun doing that. Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, I was. so I wondered how it would do on that, and it's obviously not the same, but it does fill the void. It's like a lot of my whole social thing with the paintovers has helped fill like the hobby void or whatever. You know what I mean? You get some sort of
Yeah,
social interaction, and it's somewhat about the game and stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly. The online interaction is awesome. I love the community and the friends I've made. It's just friends now that like I mean like people that I would honestly say that I mean I love them dearly. These are true friends all
yeah,
over the world. So it's
it's very
fantastic.
true. I was going to be, and anyone's people are watching, I was going to work on these four. So I started this one. I got to highlight her all up. I don't know. I was wondering if I'm going to keep the
I love the
background. What were you going to
glow on
say?
there. That's awesome. I said I love the
Oh,
glow in those crystals there. That's awesome.
um, oh, I forgot the name right now, but it'll be in this Twitter list. I was also going to go through some of the photos that people submitted because they were just so incredible. And I think this one has when we find the person who it was, I don't want to say their name wrong, so I'll wait to see it. But the crystals, I believe, are glow in the dark themselves. So, like, you know what I mean? If you actually put a light on it or whatever, the crystals would glow. So I try to imitate that in these.
Oh, sweet.
And then I was doing, I always say bribery works. So Spencer bribed me with the coffee. So I was like, all right. I I love the muddiness. So he's been doing this like very grim dark feel, and this one's been tough because what I noticed is if it's say it's like a blue dreadnought, I can use a
Hmm.
highlight and really make that blue pop and be brighter, right? So I can draw attention to it. This is
Yeah.
a muted matte black. So if you just go to highlight a muted flat black, it doesn't like shine or make it brighter or really much anything. So it's hard to
Yeah.
get what I want. It's like I want the muddy battlefield, and I'm like, but then when you have the muddy battlefield, almost World War I feel, the dreadnought is kind of blending with the background, and I part of me likes it and part of me is unsure. I'm like, okay, there's gonna be more highlights and more glow, like with around the laser and stuff like that to do it. So I'm gonna punch it up and try to draw them out of the mud, but it's part of me is like, okay, it should be, in the mud. It's grimy, World War I. Don't make it really try to like pop and stand out. So I'm in an artistic
Right.
battle with myself on that one. What else do we have? We were gonna do this one, and I will find the name again because I forgot the person who submitted this one. I could probably find it real quick. Oh, right here. That's Warhammering Tom. So he put this one in and he donated with the coffee, and I was like, all right, I'll do that one. I don't know what miniature range this is from. So I do not know, but I put this one. I'm like, all right, I like the gold and the brightness on there, and it's got some good light on
Hmm.
it. So I think I can do kind of like a darkerish background and really make those golds and reds pop. Really make them like hot or whatever, have them kind of energized and stuff. And we'll see
For
how far I
sure.
get. And usually I like to start them at least like this and get some of it done, but I've been so busy the last couple days. And then these two, I'm like, oh gosh, I'm gonna start from like bare bones. I'm like, this could go wrong. So if you get a crappy paint over on your miniature, that's why.
Oh, man. I'm just super geeked that you chose mine. That's awesome.
Alodi says, huh, I feel that. I've got about 5 AOS armies, some over 3,000 points, and I've not played yet. So everybody's bad. I have
Yeah.
miniatures. That's what I told them a year and a half ago. I bought like the airbrush air compressor, like miniatures. It's all in boxes still. I'm like, I haven't even broke it out.
Yeah. I feel that. I bought an air compressor just about a year ago, last October. I haven't even learned how to turn it on yet for an airbrushing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's funny that you got that whole collection of paints over after a couple years. And you're
I
playing
tend to
D and
go
D.
down rabbit holes in my collection. I used to, all right, I still am really into book collecting too. I have bookshelves all over the house, and my family's like, okay, do you really need to buy any more? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Hey,
Stop.
that and the thing is that's relatively like so I think oh gosh like that's relatively like quote unquote early in like a hobby career, not that it's your job but just the fact that you're into it. But like if you got that, it's like oh gosh, you got a lot of years of different hobbies and different things that are going to be like I want to paint that. So like what's it going to hold like 5 years from now if that's you after year three?
Yeah, seriously. I actually slowed down quite a bit. I did become a bit overwhelmed about
Hmm.
6, 8 months ago with the amount of minis that were still coming into my home from Kickstarters and stuff that I've backed over
Yeah.
the last few years. And I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Like, there's literally nothing I could ever want to paint that I don't have in some fashion.
Yeah.
And I also got a 3D printer, so like, I mean, like, I don't
Oh,
need
did
anything
you?
more.
Yep.
Stop.
Yeah, 3D printers can get some stuff done hobby-wise these days.
Yeah, someone gave me theirs as they were upgrading to a bigger, better model, so it was
Hmm.
actually an unexpected surprise that I quickly fell down the STL rabbit hole, and
Absolutely.
now
And
I
then yeah,
need to back off that too.
show off that Vulcan. Crimson says, "Hey, okay, yeah, Elodie Cunningham. Which one was your? I'm gonna have to look for your Twitter handle. E- Wait, King Crimson said show off the Vulcan. Like, fine, I gotta show off the Vulcan. Crimson's been a long time supporter, so he made why sometimes I'll sketch and I'll like run it by him. Like, okay, what? He knows the lore and stuff better than me and that, so like he'll help me come up with what kind of Primarch I'm thinking of or whatever. So I did
Oh,
my version
cool.
of Vulcan. It goes with here's the quick version of the four so far. For some reason, I'm doing all the Primarchs all screaming. So I'm like that's gonna be they're all gonna be yelling because I'm always laughing. It's always like this in my mind like the 40K world is they're always like it's all there's only war. You know what I mean? So it's like do them all like angry and like in whatever and just why not?
I don't know a lot about 40K, but it seems like that's all there is to do is fight. So,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not like a I mean RPG maybe they probably have a different take on it and stuff like that, but for the most part it's not something like a Dungeons and Dragons um, depth and far as variety. So I want to go through some of
mhm.
these just for people who might be watching for Paintovers. Blast from the Past, he's commissioned before and as a supporter. And one thing I generally always tell people is the upward camera angle. So Blast from the Past, he'll get a lot of miniatures that I want to paint over just because he positions them that way and obviously has a good paint job and on everything, but like that the positioning and if you look at like a lot of covers for books, magazines, miniatures, whatever, the 9 times out of 10 if not more you're going to be looking up at the main character in the image. So
Oh,
in paint
yeah,
overs,
yeah.
so Echo listens to me a lot, and this picture is a nice one looking up at it, which I gotta choose one of Echo's in a while. I did his other soldiers. So I don't. Echo's been a supporter too. So I always like the people who interact with me a lot. I try to get some paint overs for. Miniature Apothecary has really got a little style going on that I've liked. And then he does the same thing. He'll know to put that angle for these when he submits them. He'll at least take generally a couple pictures with that up angle, and like it always makes a better paint over basically. This
Okay,
one
I'll have to keep that in
yeah,
mind.
yeah, because you're instead of if you're looking down on something, you're usually like if it's a warfare scenario, you're in the more dominant position. You got the high
Yeah,
ground, you
yeah.
just hit them in the head, and that translates. That one I wanted to do in the snow because plus it
Oh,
would
that'd
make a
be sweet.
and here's another one. This one, I gotta tell them to he's gonna have to resubmit the same picture on another week because I'm totally doing this one. I just do not have enough time this week because I will make that
That is
energizing.
awesome.
Yeah, I know. So this one's getting done. I didn't even tweet him yet, but I know I'll tell him, hey, you gotta just put that in another day, and I'll do that thing for sure, dude. Because I want to do all that have all that cool lightning on his back. Oh, this
Hmm.
see, it's the same. I don't really know this person, and I feel bad. Another great too. So Same thing. It's like a little down, but that's an up angle. Our line of sight is probably right below their chin or whatever, so it's close enough that. And I love this one. God, I could do a cool sunset with that. And I love how
Oh my
they're.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't know he, she, or whatever, so I apologize if I pronounce anyone wrong. The glow in the mouth and the glow in the eyes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
epic.
yeah, I could really make that pop. So that was another amazing one. There you are. Therival with it. That was the ogre. Yeah, ogre. It is an ogre,
Yeah,
right?
Ogre. Yep.
And what game company made this miniature?
Reaper miniatures on their last Kickstarter that just delivered a couple
Okay,
months ago.
I love that cart. They got some nice detail on that. This was funny. These are the best foes I got. Please pick one. They're all amazing. And like only one is a miniature, which I loved. But I literally almost painted this one over. I was like, wait, if that's you, I would almost do a paint over of this one. I thought of doing black and white with some tripped out kind of like, vampire-esque background and just make it almost like the black and white artwork from the old White Wolf books. What is this one?
Well
This is
done. That's
yours as
awesome.
well.
Yeah, that's another one from the same company, the
Okay.
um, Gale Force 9 D&D limited edition stuff.
Elodie. And the grim darkness of the far future is only screaming. Exactly.
You're right. Exactly.
GW really went all out with these models. They got so much stuff on them.
Yeah, that's
They got,
honestly, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I haven't taken that leap yet. Is there's so much detail. I'm a little bit intimidated by some of them.
yeah, I could see that. Gargoyle Plint. So I know Gargoyle, listen, this is another one. This will get, all he has to do is resubmit on a less busy day. This is getting,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is, okay, that is like the dynamic dream composition between the gun and the cape angle. The gun is angling, if you're a typical Western viewer, your eye starts at the top left of the page because you're basically trained that way from birth when reading. So you tend to follow in, and it's also at the bottom, the same lines are leading all the way to the point of that sword. So you just like read straight across and come back down the cape and leg if you want to. It's
Yeah.
that thing's beautiful.
I
So I
see
love.
what you talk about with the camera composition. That's a
Same
really
here.
interesting
It's a
point.
lower angle. It makes that vehicle more powerful. And if you just look at Dungeons and Dragons covers, look at White Dwarf covers, look at all those. You're always looking up. They don't,
Hmm.
not always, but 95% of the time.
I
Red
just
tooth.
I just sent you another one of Baphomet from the kind of looking up at him better. If you're more interested in that one, on our DMs on Twitter,
Okay.
I think I have a better angle for you if you're interested. Just so you know.
AJ Ratcliffe always has some amazing stuff. And the fall one. One of these days. Oh,
Wow.
and this one I almost did too. Just like he said, it was phosphorus. Oh gosh, so this is. He said it was like he was trying to go for the effect of like the phosphorus that like fell on the ground, like so it was coating
Yeah,
stuff, and I don't. It's
it's
another. So like
fantastic work.
I know, and I want to carry that. I want to carry that napalmed floor out a little bit, you know what I mean, and then put the background in like the burning city and stuff, and just
Hmm.
like so you push up that forward, then just like a little like way in the background the destruction of it all because that thing is incredible.
Yeah, that would be an amazing paint over for
This
sure.
one, I wanted to message this one because I really like this miniature and it was one I almost wanted to paint over that angle. But if we look, it loses it just a little bit because we're looking down on him. Like this one is made to be, he's tilted up on that angle. If we were down lower looking at him, not quite here, but maybe a little more to the left on this camera view, it would be a super strong angle. You'd be looking up at him, and that's why they put him on that lifted rock, is to give him even more height so you can snap that
Hmm.
picture under. There's Spencer's. That's the one. Oh gosh, where did I just go? Huh. Wait, let me get back. Where was I? Let's get back. That one. Nighthawk. This one probably be too complex for free paint over day. Have to pick it out, and it's on the black background, so it really kind of hurt me isolating it. But I do like that one. That one's the one. He's got that nice, almost like a World War I muddy battlefield thing, and
Hmm.
I don't know how I'll do on a paint over. But see, that's why I do the free paint over day because then I figure if I half botch it, I'm like, well, what do you expect for free? Like,
Right?
what do you-
Hire me if you want it done well.
yeah, if you want to do something good, you pay for that stuff. Um, James with his tattoo dude.
That's legit.
Yeah, I know. Oh, this one's another one. And I'm a sucker for these nights.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, I can have that barrel firing and the other barrel, and they're like split. The composition would be good. It's got an
Hmm.
amazing paint job. You got barbed wire. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I would,
that's
I would,
super cool.
I would try to, I would even try to use somewhat of the background. I would scuff it up, and like at the top of the background, they almost look like buildings, and I would just try to like pull that up so it's like in that like kind of cityscape type deal.
Hmm.
This here's another one. Oh, there you Elodie. There you go. I'm probably saying your name totally wrong. Apologies. Oh, Overton, thanks for making it. And okay, that's going here. What is this? That? Oh, Skaven. That is a hardcore Skaven. Is that that's got to be a conversion. That is crazy.
Wow,
Oh yeah,
that's
this
awesome.
dude. That's a good photo. Oh, that's a cool mini. What is the? Oh, is that's Age of Sigmar, isn't it? I think I remember the shoes. I think Age of Sigmar puts out some awesome. That is really cool with that background piece and everything. That's a strong model. That would make a good paint over too, actually. Get that.
Hmm.
It almost had they. What is the background? I don't know if it's like just that structure. I would do this like kind of like maybe if I could get like cherry blossom trees in the background with the white. So you
Oh,
got the white
yeah.
with some of the
Yep.
cherry blossom type thing, I think would work perfect with that. Mechanical Frog, that's a good one. That one, that's a good picture for that. This one works. He's got the foot stepping forward coming at you. So that helps in composition. This one is actually a really strong picture. He's so this model, it's not very dynamic, but it's posed in a way that makes it more dynamic than it is. The angles, if the angles kind of on his chest angle away, and then like his step, make sure it's coming forward. Cool job on that glass too. I like that.
Hmm.
I never saw this before. Is this like a combo model? That thing is a trip. The Lodi said that was a converted Hell Pit abomination. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, that was hardcore. Good work on that, Lodi. Hey, Lodi. He's probably like, dude, stop saying my name wrong. And so this person is another one who totally took this stuff to heart. And I think I already painted one over for him like a week or two ago. And that was the only reason I'm like, no, I think I painted one over for you. I'm going to wait a little bit because these pictures were phenomenal. And he went with that low angle.
Oh
So like
yeah.
if you're if you're down at this low, it looks like they're charging at you compared to if you're above them. You know what I mean? Then it's like they're charging at something else. This makes them look like they're running right at you. Same with this one. That's another great
Oh, okay. Yeah,
composition.
yeah.
There's some good one. I'm a sucker for a good Void Dragon. Good angle there too. The Sometimes they would use composite pictures to they would snap another picture with the blade more in focused. On these, I don't mind. He's got the vast majority in the blade. I could put action to it, so I would give a reason for the blur so I can play that off because if the person's a blurry, it's a little harder. A spear tip coming forward, I tend to like add some motion blur to other things, so that actually works, and that's a good painting angle because I can make all that energy pop. Plus, good work on that silver. Andy Clark with the camo. I almost took this one and just snapped a picture of the grass and just erased all of him and put the grass and then said done. Like this is my paint over. He's like totally camoed in, and all you see is the grass where he's standing. Like done. But yeah, so I just wanted to go over some of those. So thanks to everyone who submitted pictures. I really appreciate it. And do I need to check anything? I don't think so. Oh, thank you for tweeting. Good. A couple people bounced it around. Oh, it was Chrissy. See, I went through all those pictures and I didn't see it. It was Chrissy is the one who painted this amazing thing. So this one is her model. And right now, matter of fact, I'm going to go try to lighten it. I want to brighten some of the features on this and bring that out. So that was my babble about all the paintovers. Echo said awesome conversion on that help hit abomination. Oh, you did build, and he built the Tory Gate myself. So that was, you did build that. That was really cool. I love that behind him. That was the one I was talking about with the cherry blossoms. It's good. It's Elodie, 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 Elodie. Oh man, I'm horrible. Enough of that. All right, so back to you. You got to talk some. I just babbled for everything. So
Oh golly,
what?
put
All
me on the
right,
spot.
let's put you on the spot. So first off, because I don't talk as much as D&D, what do you have like a character type that you would be usually drawn to if someone said, "Hey, you want to play a D&D character," or do you bounce around a lot?
I've never played anything that isn't a spellcaster,
Really?
so that's
Okay.
kind of my favorite type. I've played a warlock, a sorcerer, a druid. Yeah, those are the three that I haven't played
Okay.
a ton of campaigns. I'm doing more
Yeah.
DMing than playing in my own games. But yeah, I like the spellcasters. I've done that though in every like any kind of video game. Yeah,
You kind of lean towards the spellcasters?
I never tank. I never get in the front lines. I want to be
Yeah.
hitting from the back row,
Dropping
sniping.
bombs.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's kind
Um,
of my preferred.
what, gosh, my attention span's so short. I literally had a question like 5 seconds ago and now don't remember it. It was like it was a follow-up
No
to that one.
worries.
Yeah, so that but wait, what was I gonna say? Carry that blue glow up AE is what King Crimson said. Yeah, for these
For
I'm gonna
sure.
try. I want to get some brushing off her, carry it up into here a little bit and onto these plants some. We'll see if I can pull it off.
It's a phenomenal model. Love it.
Yeah, and it's okay. So this one I want to talk about. It's like, half of them I always just try not ruin them because half of me is like, oh, dude, it was cooler before you started mucking with it. So the model, so the model had these great fluid lines, right? It's got the sweeping cape, and so it's got really, really long curvy lines. But then they use the jewels at the bottom, and the jewels have real hard edges and they're square shaped. So you got the curves with the squares. So it was already like you have the contrast. So you're building that contrast and it makes it visually interesting. Then she put this shrub, which when it's, I don't think I have the full picture. So this, oh, come on, get to the top. Is that the top? No. Bam. You can see her better. So it's also got, there's really not, there's a little bit of jagged in her coat, but it's still like to a point, right? So all the angles are like very smooth curves and very like, you know, sweeping curves. The plant she chose in front has very kind of sharp jagged angles, so you're basically contrasting smooth with jagged. So she's got the flowing with the hard and square, and then she's got the smooth mixed with the jagged. And I just stared. I was like, "This is brilliant!" And plus, fall colors always suck me in. If you throw fall leaves on something, it's always like, "Oh God!" Something about it like just draws me into this magical like. That's probably has something part to do with D&D because I always like figured like these magical like fall woods. You know what I mean? I always liked fall woods. So.
I'm in
Um,
the middle of painting a fall dragon right now. That has like the same colors all over its like these leaves, almost like growing out of its skin. totally get the fall theme. I love it.
Did you were you always into like painting, or did you do artistic stuff before, or is it just inspired by the miniatures, or what with that?
Um, in high school, I thought I was really into painting. I did
Yep.
like some oils and canvases and stuff like that. But as honestly, since I'm in my mid 20s at the latest, is probably the last time I picked up a brush before
Hmm.
3 years ago. So
Okay. So good. Wow. So that literally got you back into, any like type of art and like painting and that stuff. So that's
mm-hmm.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's quite a few people who they're just getting back into it, and I think a lot of it happened with the lockdown. A lot of people inside, and
For sure.
Echo said, "I've had to
The
be a
leap.
front." Wait, Echo said, "I've had to be a frontline spellcaster before. It's not the best place, but you make it work." King
Right.
Crimson, spell swords are fun. Be a nimble little dog and hit with some great touch spells like Rust or Disintegrate. King
For
Crimson, I
sure.
usually go melee DPS, all the barbarian rage. He's a rager. So see, you guys got a good combo, a spellcaster and then melee DPS. And you just need a healer.
Yeah, critical member for any party.
Did um did you play any of the like video games or any of that stuff?
Not D&D games specifically, but like other RPGs. I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan.
Okay, so you played the Elder
So,
Scrolls. I don't think maybe I've dabbled at some point back in the day. Maybe I did. I can't even remember. If it was on Xbox, maybe I tried it for a little bit. I know I didn't play it on the PC. I don't think.
yeah, I will buy a next generation console whenever they get around to finally releasing
Yeah,
the
they are.
sixth one. I just adore those games, but they take, a decade in between each iteration to come out with the next one. So,
Yeah. I'm wondering if I am getting there or not.
yeah, those leaves on that bush kind of almost mimic the fur around the top of her
Yeah,
cape there. That's kind of cool how they play off each other in similar shapes and
absolutely. That's why I was like, this one. It was like I thought it was masterful, not for just the paint job, but the little additions. I thought very
hmm
rarely am I like, oh, hey, this really added something to it. I'm like, those were like perfect things to me.
for
I was
sure.
like, wait, clerics are actually the melee spellcaster. Yeah, back in the day, it was the cleric with the mace smacking people. What when you have played online, what edition did you play?
Oh, just five. That's the only thing we've done.
Okay. Okay.
I've never learned any of the other ones, and we didn't start until five was just coming out. So, or I didn't start until five was just
Yeah.
coming out.
Hey, whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. Because a lot of people in here that I'll interact with, yeah, a fair amount, not everyone, but a lot of them have, it was one of those cases where, yeah, like they're older now, there's so many people coming back to it who are not like older, but maybe in their third 40s, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Even back there, and it's
Yep.
like, hey, I have time, and maybe the kids are older and off, and I can paint and hobby, and I'm like, chill with me, my people.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's my good escape for, you know, I run a game for my family. My wife and a couple of my kids play with me, and
Oh,
I
really?
run a
You
game
do
for my
some of that?
friends
Okay,
currently.
good.
So, well,
Good, good, good.
my younger kids have a little bit too short of attention span. They got kind of bored, but my older girls really like playing.
Yeah, I wonder how, like, when did I love the storytelling aspect, and have like, I just started, what was I, like teens? I played a lot through my early teens and everything. And I
Hmm
played quite a bit. That was great for creativity. There's still things I remember from D&D games back then that I like bring into different things that I create.
Absolutely. It's awesome for inspiration and getting getting the old ideas flowing.
What did it say? Frontline because we lost a player. I had to take frontline. I was an abyssal sorcerer in Pathfinder. I never played Pathfinder, so I had claws and burning hands. I did. What did I do for RPGs? I did a lot back in the day. This one, I hope my friend has the box because it. Oh, where did I get it at Gen Con, or he got it at Gen Con, but it was like in '95 or something at Gen Con, and it was this cool game because it was the first time I saw the mechanic. Like, I think it was like if you rolled a 20, you could roll again, and then if you rolled a 20, you could roll again, and then whatever. I forget how the mechanics worked exactly, but it played out smooth because, in essence, you could basically, if you rolled lucky enough, you could backstab a dragon and kill it. You know what I mean? Like, but it
Oh,
was like good
dang.
luck. You know what I mean? But it was like it had like an exponential type of damage thing, and a couple times it really came in, it really played out quirky in a battle that it was great. I was like, oh, that was a cool mechanic. But I mean, was it like Star Frontier? Was that a TSR one back in the day? I even had like, I think at one point there was like a Team Yankee one I had Cyberpunk. I
Yeah,
had
okay.
I don't know if I had Shadowrun back then. I had a lot of Palladium books. I had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I had some of the Robotech stuff. I had Recon, and then I played the White Wolf stuff. Obviously, Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I think the White Wolf was some of the last when I was kind of phasing out of the role playing. But that was a cool world, and I liked how they rolled up characters in that too.
That sounds cool.
I was big on rolling. I liked creating characters.
Yeah. Before I started painting minis, that was my free time was just creating characters that I'd probably never get a chance to play.
Yeah, make them NPCs.
Yeah, exactly. There's so
Is
much fun,
this
different stuff themes you can come up with.
and that's so you've been, how many miniatures would you think you've painted? Well, how, if you had to ballpark it, so you've been painting for like 3-ish years, how many do you think you've painted in 3 years?
Actually getting close to finding out the exact number. I've been doing a
Really?
retroactive thread on Twitter. I decided to go through and post in one giant mega thread every miniature I've ever painted from day one.
Oh, how
So I'm
cool that you
doing
could do
that.
that.
um, so I'm doing that, and right now I'm in like right around the end of 2019, 2020, beginning of 2020, and I'm at 210, 220, somewhere around there.
Wow,
Um,
okay.
so I guess extrapolating, the last year has been slow. I haven't
Yeah.
finished a ton just because of work and immunizations.
Well, it's
I've been
not like you're
working like a
doing it
hundred
like,
hours.
yeah, it's not like you have to. It's like, I think some people feel like, oh, they kind of get like, you have to get a lot done. Not saying that you are, but I know some people, it's like they feel like, hey, I got to get a lot done. And it's like, I fell behind. It's like, yeah, well, it was also the plague.
Right, exactly.
Give yourself a
I
little
was probably
break.
I was painting a couple hundred a year at the beginning, but it's slowed down
Oh,
since
that's
the
a
plague.
lot.
So
Yeah, even
probably,
still.
and now too, I'm doing more commissions than painting for myself. Painting by myself, I don't feel bad if I bust one
Hmm.
out in a day. Now I feel like I got to put a little more time and effort into them.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know, probably maybe 400 altogether.
How did you get into, I didn't even check you on like Twitter that much. Like, how are you like plugged into, how do you get commissions? Like when they come? Like, how do you just do it like friends
Mostly
kind of?
just yeah.
Hmm.
I have a separate Twitter for commissions
Yep.
theoretically, although I hardly ever use that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
yeah,
it's
just
just
people who've seen my work or
very
in the
cool.
community. I've made some good friends, and it started off with like someone picked me because I lived close to them, so they wouldn't have to
Yep.
ship the minis,
Yeah,
and we became
perfect.
actually pretty good friends. And since then, it's kind of snowballed.
Yep.
I haven't done any international commissions yet, thank Lord, because shipping would scare the hell out of me to make
Oh
sure it doesn't
God,
show up
yeah.
broken. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it kind of snowballed. People share my work if they've liked it, and
Huh,
People
that's cool.
contact me.
It's a good one to hear from because a lot of the people I've talked to, like I said, like, okay, it's like, oh, they're like hobbying for 30 years. And I always wonder, like, I talk about how when I got into something like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, there wasn't really anything competing with it. You know what I mean? It
Right.
was literally like that's all you like. So that's why it got your attention. And now I'm always like, okay, well, what is someone who's coming into it younger? Does it like what still holds their attention about it? So it's good for me to hear because whatever I'm doing, it's like it's a little version of the market research and stuff. Like, hey, what are people interested about in these games or what draws them into a certain game over another?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean D&D is obviously the 300-pound gorilla in the room, but as far as like fantasy type stuff goes, but
Do
there's so many
you
options.
Do you watch like do you ever listen to any podcasts about D&D or watch any videos or do you maybe follow some D&D content creators or anything like that?
That more so than anything, I tried to get it like I tried to get into Critical Role, like that's everybody's
Hmm.
like big, obviously thing, and
I've never watched, so I don't know. Like I've
I
heard of it.
watched the first couple of episodes, and I was like, okay, this is cool. It's just not my jam. Like if I
Yeah.
don't want to listen to other people or watch other people play D&D, I want to play it myself.
Yep,
And they
totally
have some
makes
really
sense
cool
to me.
stories from what I've heard, but it's not my thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, I follow more of the people like well, other artists primarily, but like
Hmm.
other content creators who are doing like their own third party supplements,
Yep.
that kind of stuff. I really get a lot of inspiration from those type of folks too. And
Okay. It's sort of like the same with me in that I like there's a lot of like I don't know if they're smaller content creators, or however you want to say it. They're not like big, but like they'll do their smaller businesses. Like even well, I mean, Garfy doesn't do it for business, but like there's a wonderful photography like Garfy. There's like Dark Fantastic Mills, who I absolutely. Oh, that's right. I ordered their huge walker thing, so that I'm sure that'll they got to ship it overseas, but that'll take forever. But yeah, I forgot I ordered that. Now I'm all like, oh God, it's gonna be on my desk. That thing's massive. It's like it's like a foot tall. It's like crazy. But yeah, I really like there's a lot of the smaller companies doing like the STL files coming out and everything. It's like to me
yeah,
it's such a exciting time. There's almost an overwhelming amount of content coming out, but I think that is because it's such a it's like a exciting time to be a sort of a content creator.
the
Uh,
STL
uh,
thing has blown me away. I've only been printing for maybe just about a year now.
hmm.
And some of the stuff that I've found on like the STL Patreons and whatnot that
Yeah.
people run, holy mother of God, those are
Hmm.
amazing miniatures.
Yeah, that
So
stuff's
yeah, it literally what they come up with is just it blows my mind. And you can't do that kind of stuff on a big market scale like
no, you can't. And
Citadel
that
or
yeah, it
you
just
know.
wouldn't happen. And that's why I'm like, dude, it's great for that people. You might have like been a really good 3D sculptor and then like not everyone can work for some big company designing, you know what I mean? But it's like if you
Hmm.
got your good a good way to show your work and STLs like that, that's awesome.
Hmm. Even though how in depth some of their minis are, you couldn't even
Yeah.
really make them in a mass production scale. It's too
No. They're
much.
like
It
they're
costs you a
pers
million dollars.
personal passion projects and stuff.
Hmm.
Elodie, thanks for coming back. Was at work, had to dip out there. Glad people are giving up on work and tuning in.
So how did you get into this? You said you only been doing it about a year and a half. Like, what led you to this
You know
area?
what?
I'm going to ask you
I
questions.
Yeah, you're allowed to ask me questions. The I did a lot of art before, and I was getting back into like doing some comic stuff, and I was just drawing. I'm like, okay, I didn't know. I didn't know exactly what I want to do, but I was like, okay, I want to go more into like just whatever to do with kind of like gaming and that like made up worlds, right? And I like 40K. I always enjoyed the look of it, like the grim dark setting and all that. And when I came back and was like on Twitter with this account, I saw a lot of the just all the 40K minis that people were painting, and I had been drawing and doing some stuff, and I was like, oh, I just took someone's picture and was like, oh, let me put some smoke on it and this like atmosphere stuff because there's a photo, just because I was like, I wanted to do it. I was like, oh, let me see this. It's like,
Hmm.
and so I did it, and then I just happened to show them, and they kind of responded favorably, and then I was like, oh, it went good. I didn't stress it like I normally would for drawing because I was like, okay, and I did a couple more, and then they just got good reception from the people I gave it to, and then I had a couple people ask for commissions, and then it just kind of like kept growing, and then I got an interview in White Dwarf 465, and then that kind of helped, again, like get more audience or whatever kind of thing. And then it just was like, got more commissions, got some stuff in like Mantic Games, got some stuff in the Rain and Hell game and that. And so I've just been like, go, 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 like do whatever I can to keep it all going. Oh, did you just
That's
bomb out?
awesome. So this is your full time gig now?
Yeah, yes, I do. I also was doing like training videos and stuff for different corporate companies. A lot of that kind of got goofed up with the whole COVID thing myself, and then so it was kind of one of those where I seen a little thing of like light with this, and my heart's more into this. Like you can't put demons in a training for Kmart or Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what kind of boring training do you have with no demons? I'm like, what is that? Like, what are you training for? Nothing
Right.
important, obviously. So, I was
That's
like, I wanted to
awesome.
go with something where people are concerned with real problems like flaming dreadnoughts and stuff. So yeah, and then so with the commission work that came up, and then access to like a couple works for like companies and that. So I was just like, okay, well, go for it more and put more time into that. And I got like the website up now, and that it's not growing right now, but it's kind of not my time to pour a lot more effort into that. I'm going to be slowly building that, but like things kept kind of developing, so I knew not to like don't focus too much on one thing until you kind of see all the pieces. It's like gathering a bunch of pieces first. It's like don't try to assemble
Yeah.
it all till you gather the pieces. So I'm like, all right, you're just in gather the pieces mode, and slowly I'm going to start putting out some like merch and stuff that doesn't have to do with paintovers. And I kind of got back more into like drawing again because a lot of it is just like I have the Patreon supporters and just people like King Crimson, who's like followed me forever and they'll be like, come on, draw, and I'll be like wishy-washy about it, and they're like just the little encouragement and things like that go a long way for me. So it's kind of like, okay, get drawing, do that, and it's a time thing for me because like my whole day revolves around like art and whatever. So it's just finding
Right.
times to do all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Engine Phil, glad you popped in to say hi. I'll wave back. Have a good evening when you're off out and about. Engine Phil makes some really cool stuff as well. He does a lot of the Titans and that for 40K. What's the biggest model you ever painted, dude?
Oh gosh, someone hired me a while back to paint. It's just this obscenely large dragon turtle. Like they 3D printed it on not a resin printer, but
Yeah, I
the
forget
filament
FDL.
printers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it was like they blew it up like 500%
Oh,
and
so
sent me this turtle that was like literally the size of my desk, and that was honestly I think one of the most challenging things I've ever painted because I mean like it wasn't so there's not detail built in at that
hmm
scale.
no.
So it was really hard for me to come up with like
What are you gonna do with that area?
interesting ways to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That was fun.
what
That was fun, but
texture
that was a
or
challenge.
yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. But I do a lot of dragons. A lot of people hire me for dragons, so a bit bigger than the human sized, 28, 32 millimeter
Oh,
stuff. Um,
yeah, dragons have always been cool. It's kind of my
that's kind of
jam,
what,
man.
you know, that's what most people. I think I've painted more dragons than anything else for other people. So,
Oh, okay. So the dragons still sell.
oh yeah, definitely. I did all of the Matt Colville's company, MCDM. Did a
Okay.
third-party supplement a year ago or so for D&D, and they brought back all the crystal dragons
Oh
from the
yeah.
older editions, the gemstone dragons. So they did minis for those. Someone hired me to paint all of them. Those are some of my favorite models. Those are super cool.
Good. It's good to hear about
Yeah.
some of that different kind of like the models and stuff. I'm always curious about that, and I keep hearing about you just more and more of the companies that are out there that I'm like, man, dude, it's just and it keeps kind of expanding, and it's good to know because in the digital age when a lot of people are switching all digital, it's like okay, people still like doing the hand minis and getting together for D&D and all that, and it's kind of like yeah, you take a loss on some things, but then you can gain it back in other ways because hey, if you spend a lot of time doing digital stuff, it makes you want to get together with something. Like, okay, dude, enough time like sitting and talking to a screen. I'll go actually talk to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. The in-person stuff is awesome. I hope we can get back into that someday. It's hard for me to use
Yeah.
any minis and stuff like that on online playing. I
Yeah.
try my best to show them a little bit what's going on, but we use the electronic
Hmm.
battle screens and stuff like that. But it's not the same.
Echoes' dragons will always be the best. Yeah, and any of you in the chat getting any of the? I know Games Workshop has been posting a bunch of new dragons. Does anyone have plans on getting those? Someone in here. I know half the people are gonna go like crazy, probably cutting wings off and modding it, and like buy some like $200 dragon. And be like, I'm chopping that thing up. Here, I
I
should
think that's one of my
remind.
favorite parts about the 40K community that because I don't really know them that well since I
Yeah,
haven't played much or painted much, but I love watching the kit bashing and all the creative
yeah,
stuff people come up with. That's so cool.
yeah. They do a lot of good. One of the one that the concept that grabs me. So right, I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in I don't know, over 25 years, right? I am addicted
Hmm.
to the idea of they have like the 3D printable like dungeon tiles that all go together and they like I've seen like the cool photo, someone have this big dungeon all done up and oh God, I it's
Hmm.
like why do I want that? It's like, dude, you don't even have any plans to play D&D. You don't like have any room. Like, what? Yes, you want a dungeon tile set up and just stare at it in your place or something. That's that's all I like. I get addicted to the
Yeah,
idea. I have the older printer, and that's why I keep thinking. I'm like, man, maybe I should just run off a whole bunch.
those are pretty cool. There's some really fun builds people have done.
Yeah,
And then there's like the
Elodie.
dwarven forge stuff on Kickstarter that they do all the tiles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
I've
just
seen. I really like those
insane.
too. Yeah, I've seen some of those, and no, that's a nice setup on those too.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, you have Cragno. So yeah, oh yeah, you had a bunch of minis up there. You had a bunch of expensive minis. I was talking to Elodie. She had that. I don't even know if it's he or she, so I totally apologize. But had that Kragnos up there. That's a great model too. Plus, I have a polished shame to work through. Yeah, I think most people who there's something the hobby, the fact that people really jump. I mean, I'm trying to think of like hobbies. Like people do tend to like you'll take golf, and some people will totally jump into hardcore in golf. But it seems to me like there's a certain like it's called plastic crack, especially in GW for a reason. I think something really draws.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the tangible, it's the fact that maybe it's the people with the really creative minds who then get a little tangible item to hold or something. I don't know what the thing is that like people really seem to get sucked into it. And it's like, oh yeah, I want more of this and more of that. And I don't know what like aspect that's tapping into people make people want it like that, but I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. It definitely is can be an addicting habit.
What are you painting on right now? I'm not cut. Am I? Are we breaking up? Huh. I'm seeing you lag. She. Thank you. Thank you, Elodie. I apologize. Huh. I hope we didn't lose them. Maybe we did. Let me try to. We did lose him for a second, so hopefully we can get him back. Um, I don't know if I need to send him another invite. Give me a second. How do I got to do this? I'm going to switch screens. And boo, we just had a bunch of people in chatting. Now I got to try to get them back. How do I do this? All right, we got that one. All right, so he's going to get back in. It just said the token expired, so some funky thing happened real quick. I'm going to send him an invite. Thanks
I
for
think I'm
being.
back in.
Oh, you are.
Can you hear me?
Ta-da, we got you. I think we got you. Yeah, we got you. Hang
Yeah.
on. There. Victory. Oh, but we have a blank camera, but that's you.
Hmm.
You're just in blackness.
Oh, there we go. I think that's.
Ta-da.
Yay.
I know. I was like, whatever that stuff happens sometimes. I was like, the one time Lee and I were doing our show and we had like the biggest, best show ever. And I hit the power off button on my phone, which is on the side and it controls
Oh
everything and
no.
just logged us all out. It was like, I'm like, yeah, this is going great. Everyone's here. We do this thing. It was like, dink. I clicked the button. Everything went down. I was like, whatever you do, never hit that power off button.
Oh man.
Oh, I should work on yours some. I am never going to get done. I'm going to be on here a while, so I'll be streaming a while.
No, no worries.
Dun, dun, dun.
I have that other angle too, if you like. I sent that to
Oh,
you.
let me try. Let me go look for that real quick.
Because you're right. I see what you mean about that angle on from the lower viewpoint. Makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, it does, and it's not. Most people wouldn't. You're not going to think twice about it, and it's just something I know for. Oh, that is a good angle. I don't know if it cuts off much of that sword. Let me think of
Oh yeah,
this.
that's true. I already shipped it
Uh,
out, or I'd take a better one. So
Let me think.
yeah, it does cut off a lot of that sword.
Yeah, it's just like it looks really good from that one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stay with this one.
All
I
right.
will. I will stay with this